And we are live again here. Anything goes in the capital city of the internet, Cambridge, Massachusetts, where it is an absolutely luscious day. The week of the commencement is just finished. We had such a good day yesterday and during the course of this week. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Lant. I'm the CEO and co-founder of the longest running live program on the internet anywhere at all. Our program title, Anything Goes, is exactly the agenda. Anything goes. You may say and do whatever you wish. Well, try to exercise a little reason and a little bit of community spirit. Not too many blue words. And, of course, we do answer. So one of the great things is this program liberates us on the one side of the camera to say what we have to say and liberates you to say it. So this is like a cosmic food fight. And I am joined today by Lant from Washington, D.C., looking positively suburban in his summertime outfit here. He will have many interesting things to tell us. Today we're going to have a bit of an interesting focus. We're going to tilt the direction towards the state of Oklahoma. So if those of you who have Okie stories, as I do, as Lance does, and you're going to meet a great Oklahoma ex-jurist from the great Sooner State, and I'm going to be reading you an article too that takes place in Oklahoma City. So for those of you who are wondering what has happened to the great sovereign state of Oklahoma, it's come to Worldprofit at Anything Goes, www.worldprofit.com. And I'm going to tell you, folks, two things before we begin about Worldprofit. In case you've been living under a rock for 21 years, you probably want to know. One, our company is a Canadian-based company based in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where we have enjoyed corporate nirvana with the Canadian regulators for over 20 years. In other words, we have an unbesmirched copybook, and on the internet with all this rampant fraud and scamology, that's such an important thing to know that we subject ourselves willingly and with an open heart and an open everything else to the Canadian government and their trips to visit us in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. That's point number one. And number two, for all those of you who cherish such notions of merit, as I do, you want to know that Worldprofit has the highest merit rating of A+ from the Canadian Better Business Bureau. And I wanted to say a word about how that happens. It doesn't happen by accident. It's hard work. First of all, you have to be a member for 10 years with no blemishes of any kind before they even commence the review procedure. In other words, it doesn't start your first day. It starts after 10 years when you are very, very good. And so, again, with the Canadian Better Business Bureau, that A+ rating is a rarity, and on the internet, it's about as rare as a hen's tooth. Lads, do you want to comment on the sheer maintenance and standing of Worldprofit amidst so many businesses who are so fraudulent on the internet?
Yeah, just you have to. It just is a high level of integrity, as Dr. Lance mentioned, veritas, truth, and always handling matters very appropriately, and making sure that you're above reproach status. And that is exactly what Worldprofit does and has done, and therefore we're an A+ rating.
Now, I'm sure Lance knows the derivation of that. Caesar's wife must be above reproach. That is Calpurnia, Julius Caesar's wife that he's about to divorce. But she must be above suspicion. Well, let me tell you something about the relationship to the Better Business Bureau, because I think some people misunderstand it. When you have an A+ rating, it doesn't mean that every question is settled to the customer's advantage or whatever. It means that you engage in an earnest, good faith expert engagement to make sure that everything that could be done was done to the satisfaction of the client. It doesn't mean they're all going to be happy. Remember, the Constitution of the United States promises life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and so it is with the Better Business Bureau. So in this case, those of you who don't know how it works, it's a very arduous process, and every situation that, for example, we might have a customer come in and say, I'm going to buy your silver package, and then never use it, and then file a complaint that says that they never taught me how to use it. Well, we have to respond to that, and most companies on the internet choose not to bother. We're different. We wanted to gain the cloak of respectability from agencies that have the ability to confer it. And I'm so glad we chose that policy. And I want to give a warm hug, shout out to my esteemed colleague and friend, Sandy Hunter, the world's longest-serving female president of any internet company. She's the point person with the Canadian government handling corporate relations, and she also handles the relations with the Better Business Bureau. And I have to tell you about a recent case before we go on. I was being my usual, shall we say, bluff and honest self, and someone took, during Anything Goes, and someone took umbrage to my characterization of someone and wrote a nasty 3-page letter to my colleagues, and of course to the Better Business Bureau. This is what I mean. That we had to answer it, about the bluntness and everything, and that's what we have to do. We have to respond to every single thing that comes up. Now that's to the good of all. And if I am from time to time a little blunt, I know that Sandy understands. Sometimes he wants to slap my fingers, but alas, I'm 67 years old. My fingers are already frail and scrawny. You don't need to have to slap them. Lance, do you want to say anything further about the BBC? And in the link that I posted earlier, in our page of Hernan Cortez on the Aztec city of Mexico, La Ciudad de Mexico. You want to say anything about these honors? They are honors. They're honors arduously won, like all honors should be.
Right, earned, and definitely earned, and have created great value to this world wide web and global community of being, like I mentioned, above reproach, because we respond and take care of matters and handle them diligently.
Do everything.
Right, handle them diligently and honestly to bring things together the way they're supposed to be. It may not always be to the customer's specific satisfaction. However, we are going to answer very honestly and deal with the situation appropriately.
Well, I must say that I'm the only one that can say this. The CEO submits, just as everyone else must. I would love to be on a platform where I could just say whatever I want to say with no other, but it doesn't work that way. Everyone is subject to the rules, including the CEO, and I might say especially the CEO. All right, having said that, let's introduce you to Lant somewhere a little bit more and to Judge Leo Watson. It's my pleasure to tell you that Leo Watson now is of a conditional senior monitor status. He's risen meteorically, and I want to tell you why. First of all, and the reason we have these Oklahoma boys and stories, and if any of you in the audience have an Oklahoma leak or something, or you root for the Sooners, or you were a Sooner rather than a Laterer, tell us. We want to smoke out all the people from Oklahoma. And that's what we do. We make special mentions of this different places on the earth because we are world profit. We're not parochial. We exist everywhere. First of all, let me tell you about Leo Watson. He was a judge. In Oklahoma, they elect their judges. In Massachusetts, he's a gator. Well, gators, raccoons, skunks. What do I know? I'm not Miles and Perkins of the animal kingdom. You're lucky I know a dog from a termite. Sometimes I think they're the same thing. He was a jurist in the state of Oklahoma, appointed by Governor Bellman, who was a distinguished governor of the state of Oklahoma. He trained in Florida for the law. And you can see right away that he has a very judicious temperament, which we're going to have to eradicate. He's having way too much fun, and justices never have as much fun as monitors do. So he came to us at Worldprofit, and maybe we'll get him up here to say a word or two before this episode of Anything Goes is finished. He chose Worldprofit because, like many people, he had the need to stay home. He's 69. I hope he doesn't mind. I mean, Leo, you have to put up with this. I'm 67. He's 69. So he has the senior position. And as my physician likes to say, men fall apart at 50, women fall apart at 35. And the bottom line is that he has brought a world of experience. Well, where to go? It's that old expression, all dressed up and no place to go. What do you do when you're no longer a jurist? Do you remember that scene in White Christmas where Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye are trying to not let their general from World War II, know that they have this big ski thing? What do you do with a retired Major General. That's the song that they sing. What do you do when I am Major General? Well, Leo is in the same thing, but in the law. It's a big problem. We don't know in this country how to continue a person's expertise without kicking them out. And at Worldprofit, we are so different. We, by the very nature of our work, we have many people who are older, who have health problems of various kinds. They have to stay home. And my point of view on that is, if you can only be a monitor for a minute, I accept. In other words, I don't have some crazy dichotomy, Lance, and I want you to speak to this, where 1 minute you're an active contributing member of an organization, and the next minute you've got to go watch and you are out the door. That's not how I operate. What we do here is we encourage people to stay with us for the long term. If they can do less, they do less. If they can't do that after a while, do what they can do. It's about can do, not can't do.
Right.
And Lance, you want to speak to that, because we have so many illustrations of people in this community who in a weird way, we kind of liberated them from the thraldom of conventional ideas on retirement.
So yeah, it's really an opportunity for anyone or each and everyone to participate and still use their background, their experiences, their skill, anything to share across the globe right here within our Worldprofit's Live Business Center as a becoming a senior monitor. And the number one thing that I always appreciate being able to do this is I get to give back. It's an opportunity to give back, share with people, help people come in and learn to be successful. And that's what we do here. We help people to become successful, start profiting online, change their lives.
Well, we're very wasteful of talent in the United States, very wasteful indeed. In the British system, when a fellow or a woman like Margaret Thatcher ceases to be Prime Minister, they are always incorporated in various aspects of government, whether it be special commissions or whatever. We hardly ever do that. You can hardly think of an ex-president doing anything more than playing golf or going to collect a big fat check speaking at a convention. That's not the best use of their talents. And I resolved that when I had the opportunity, I would have a more of an English system approach to it than an American system. In America, we kick out talent, despite the fact that there may be many good years left, but at a diminished rate of speed. You know, you might not want to move 100% when you're 70. You might want to do it at 83% of what you did before. It's all personal. It all needs to be worked out. And a great deal of my time now is spent with the various manifestations, problems, conditions, histories, and futures of people who were monitors. I call them emeritus. I stole the word from academia. An emeritus professor is a person who stays active in the professoriate, but not at the same intensity as they previously did in their full-time employment. And it would be lovely to have some of you folks on the right-hand side comment on this, because I have never really told you before my philosophy about talent. Talent is to be preserved, reserved, maintained, honored, and revered for as long as the person is alive, and then after they're dead. And because I have this peculiar belief, at least some people say it's peculiar, that death being just another aspect of life, there's no reason for the person's wisdom and everything to die with their death. It doesn't need to. That's why there are books. That's why there are videos. That's why there are tapes. That's why there are lectures. That's why there are seminars like this. Lance, we revere talent. So for those of you in the audience who are wondering, you're probably over 60 years old now, you're sitting at home, you're slowly dying by inches, you're feeling your brain rot, stop it. Stop that madness at once. I am your Florence Nightingale. I am your Good Samaritan. I am whatever is needed to come to rescue you and bring you in. You're going to find it a marvelous ride. Lance, do you want to comment on any of that?
Yeah, it's absolutely, you find it a marvelous ride. And purpose, I guess if I had to say the number one thing is that you'll always find that you get to, it's not about what Patrice mentioned down here, find a certain age, retire. You don't retire. You still are alive and with purpose, and that's you can get that here. We're going to give you purpose to continue on, share all those great and wonderful things of what you know with everybody else, as well as help people and help each other.
Now I want to tell you about Leo Watson, what I know about the man. I know in a surprisingly short amount of time, I know a surprisingly large amount, but then you know that I'm an incessant gossip, and I'm always quizzing people about these things anyway. Initially, he looked a little grim. I mean, no wonder. He's literally the only sane person to fall through the skylight of the insane asylum. We have peculiar habits at Worldprofit. We believe in expression, full creativity, no limits beyond the limits of common decency and good taste, which these days are much abridged and worked against, but nonetheless do exist. And I saw, and I was empathetic with him, although I didn't say so. He was probably thinking, what have I gotten myself into now? And let me tell you what he got himself into. Nobody will understand the concept of what is eternal and forever until they run a 24-hour day, never closing company. It sounds like it's good. Oh, let's have our company open 24 hours a day. Oh, it sounds like a wonderful idea. Until you have to start filling 1 million slots with real live bodies and people. So I am ever on the lookout for people of responsibility, good habits, good speech, good conversation, and may I say, a good relationship with the concept of a human being. We have very bad concepts now with humans. We kill them, we eat them, we rape them, we pillage them, we rob from them, we destroy them. We destroy their self-respect, we destroy their schools, their villages, their water supplies. That's not good. None of that's good. I look for the people who stand against that and who will stand for and say there are standards, there are things that are better than other things, and we at Worldprofit, we have those standards and are united. And I just want to speak to that because Leo looked a little pale and wan, and I thought, I know what he's going through. He's wondering if those monkeys are not running the asylum, and we are indeed running the asylum. The asylum for learning, education, mentoring, responsibility, responsible behavior, and so on. You want to speak to that?
Right. I agree. A level of a standard of professionalism and maintaining, always doing your best to maintain good composure, because we're helping people out there from all across the globe, different ethnic backgrounds, cultures, societies out there, and so we have to learn to be very relational and understanding. Yes, sir.
Yes, we do. And I want to say now, I haven't said that now, Leo's wife has been involved in this decision as well, and we're longing to meet her. She's having some cataract surgery done today, and I wasn't expecting that Leo would be here. Leo, if you have a minute and you can, come up. We're going to come up for 3 minutes to say hello to the folks if anything goes. And if it's not convenient, you can put a message for them on the screen and you let me know. It's Tuesday. Thank you. Days run together for me. I sometimes have to tell you, not only days run together, I got a call from my bank the other day saying, Dr. Lant, you misspelled your name on a check. Well, at least they called me. They didn't think it was forged. They just thought it was me. I think that's a compliment. So anyway, the great thing about, I'm going to talk about Middle America, of which Oklahoma is called the buckle on the Bible Belt. The people in Middle America, particularly I want to tell you those of you from outside the United States or even from areas that are not Western, and I know that last week, every person that I meet from Oklahoma or thereabouts is a decent, law-abiding, most of the time, God-worshipping most of the time, person of consequence, standards, good nature, good humor, good gifts of governance, and reciprocity in the neighborhood. That's why I love these people, and I happen to be one, so if it sounds a bit self-serving, it probably is. Lance, give us a story a little bit about your involvement with Oklahoma. Leo, if you want to come up, you can tell us then. You have to tell me on the screen, Leo, whether you'd like to come up or not. Or you just care to post a comment on the screen. Either way works for me. Okay.
Okay. So, first taste of Oklahoma and moving to Oklahoma and being there for quite a while. In 1987, just joined the Army and with the tour being in there in Oklahoma, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, home of the artillery, and moving there. And it's really, so it really was a nice place. And why was that so good to me? Why was it so good to me? You know why? Because as Dr. Lant said, I am a God-fearing individual and have a great faith and trust in God. And that is like you said, a Bible Belt area. And I had started attending the church there. But guess what? It led me to my wife. And that is the story that has been the most important to me, is the place that I met the one that I love and have been in love with and still love, even though, we lost her to leukemia. However, that Oklahoma, we spent so many good times of visiting into the Wichita Mountains and checking out the buffalo and going to the lakes and to the beauty and the places of Oklahoma out there. We had such great and wonderful times with family because of all the family out that way. Yes, sir.
Well, what I want to say to those of you out there who've been, I'm going to use a vernacular word, screwed by scamsters on the net, I hope you're beginning to sense that this is a different kind of place, a different kind of rhetoric, a different kind of approach, a different kind of goal, a different kind of objective than you might have encountered elsewhere. One of the great things about Worldprofit and the Live Business Center is it cements these lifelong international relationships that people tell me all the time how many friends they've made here at Worldprofit, and that's excellent. Our goal is always, when it was started from, to help you make money, help you get through the difficult times and put away a little something in the prosperous times. We are here to augment your wealth and your stability and the certainty that you will eat tomorrow and pay the mortgage tomorrow. You might say it's a relationship of fidelity and a fiduciary relationship, and it most assuredly is. And what I want to do now, and again, all of you out there who are working alone, and for whom this rhetoric is totally foreign because nobody cares about you, and nobody does, do you think the scamsters care about you only to the extent of how much money they can rip you off for? Making money is our objective, of course. It has to be as a corporation. We have shareholders as well to consider. More than that, it's building lives through building strong international businesses. If you live in a place, and I was talking to a lady from South Africa this morning, where the economy is anemic, plagued with scandals and disorganization and inefficiency, and you can't see your way out of it, change the paradigm. The paradigm means you've got to see the world as your oyster. But you say, how do I do that? What can I do? You come to us. Because this whole company is set up, this whole community is established on the basis that we will show you how to cut into the resources of the world where you stay at home wherever you are. I'm sure that South Africa is a lovely place. Certainly the terrain is beautiful, awe-inspiring. But it's a lousy place to live if you don't have any money. You don't know how to get money. You can't educate your children, and your water is filthy and contaminated, and your food is adulterated. Then it isn't a nice place to live, is it? So the bottom line is, if you are anywhere on this earth where there are problems that you cannot solve solely within your boundaries of your country, trustee, territory, or whatever, come to us, because we can solve. And one of the great things that is well known across the internet now, this is the age of supranational organizations. What does that mean? A supranational organization is an organization that exists to perform its task without territorial sovereignty, without country borders. We have no borders. We are wealth makers international without borders of any kind, no limitations beyond the limitations you bring to the table yourself. We don't impose them. You impose them, if anyone imposes them. Let's speak to this, because so many people say, what? What are you talking about? We're talking about cutting you into the whole wide world and turning the world into your personal financial oyster. Respond.
Yeah, absolutely. With everything that you're going to get taught here and everything provided to you all in this one place, you're going to now have an opportunity. And one of the key things here when you're part of it, like Dr. Lant teaches the video marketing, the world kind of does become your oyster, because now you're going to have the reach. You have the global reach to touch lives that are out there looking for just this opportunity, and to get them self-started, building a business online and making money and growing that each and every month. And you're going to be able to do that here. Yes, sir.
Before carrying on with my reading for the day, and then the special offer, I'm going to say something with Lance, I hope won't wince at. One of the great strengths about this community is that in your ordinary job, you're not encouraged to talk about the intimate family things. And coming out of a very straightforward conservative business background, nobody told me as a child or teenagers or whatever that this would be my métier, but it's turned out to be. People want to be more than a cog in a corporate wheel. They want their struggles to be known. And I'm not talking about water-cooled gossip. I'm talking about where appropriate and in the right circumstances. They want it known who they were involved with, why they were involved, where they were involved, what difference it made to them, to the children, to the world, to their friends. And I encourage people to do this. And as a result, every time I come up here, excuse me, I learn more and more about the members. Not because I have pride, because I don't, but because they want to share with me, and they understand that that's the way to build a community, is to know thy people. Know the people within it, know what's important to them, know what is, there are flaws, but they're all only human after all, with our full complement of problems, aren't we, flaws and breakages. But beyond that, I need to know, you need to know, and you need to, and people, if you're sitting out there and no one's asked you how your wife or husband is ever, how are those children getting along? What's the status, and Howard Martell, this is for you, what's the status of your new dog? Here, these things are germane to building the glue that cements an organization that becomes meaningful to the people, the participants. And I wouldn't have it any other way, although I'm telling you, I'm learning along with you all this as well. Remember, I've never been a CEO before in the last 21 years. Now, Lance, without further ado, I'm going to read my article for the day. And this is an article of one of over 1,000 articles that I've written in, of course, the last 3 years on every kind of subject. Now, I undertook this project to teach myself, to show myself that I could do it. In other words, I had an arrière-pensée, an interior thought, that I wanted to know whether I was good enough to tell the stories of the world with empathy, with love, with affection, with a pointy finger where necessary, and a hug when also necessary. In other words, was I good enough to tell the stories of humanity the way they need to be told? And my answer, well, you will supply the answer. I have my own version of this. So I'm going to read you this article. And every member who comes into Worldprofit gets all these articles, plus my new book, Net Profits, which is, again, just like these articles, and the detailed information and the planning and the methodology. And everyone in this room can leave with a copy of it today with my heartfelt blessing. Or you can go to Amazon.com and spend $29.95 for it, which is fine. I would. Christmas is coming up, you know, and already I'm longing to have my own money. So if you want to go buy it, be my guest. Now let's read you this article. Many a new day, and Lance and Leo will recognize this tune from Oklahoma. Many a new day, I'll scrub my neck and I'll brush my hair and start all over again. My father, Oklahoma, life, hope. I wrote this article March 16th of 2014. He waited a spell before he said it, no doubt carefully looking for just the right moment to tell me, knowing that the intelligence would be unwelcome, even unsettling, certainly life-changing, therefore potentially dangerous. A thing to be approached and dealt with as if holding a radioactive element with tongs. Yes, hazardous indeed. I'm going to do it, he said. I didn't need to be told what it was, I knew. And to tell the strict truth, he had laid down a trail of clues, hints, and innuendos for months, just like Hansel and Gretel with their breadcrumbs. But that was just conjecture, a possibility, table talk to be treated as serious or not, depending on how many pieces of pie had been ingested whilst the subject was under discussion. One slice meant not likely. Two suggested a distinct possibility, and any more than two he was packing his trunk, bidding the world to catch up or eat his dust. And there is nothing more serious than that. Quo vadis? Whither goest thou? Could it be just as simple as the simple fact that humans like to see what is on the other side of that hill over yonder? Why did the chicken cross the road? My father used to ask the unwary. Why to get to the other side? And then he'd laugh at you, would laugh at a rube from the city who didn't know up from down. Maybe we're programmed by the ultimate authority to leave hearth and home in pursuit of the something better we're sure is our individual and collective destiny. I used to wonder about this when I was growing up. Why did Abraham Lincoln's family, for instance, move so much? To Virginia, to Kentucky, to Indiana, to Illinois. Were they reckless, feckless, incapable of staying put and turning the good into the better? Or were they far-sighted visionaries who had to go because remaining would have been so much easier, and thus beneath them? For they were a proud, assertive people, and knew they were worthy of any benefit they might dream of and seize. They called that destiny, and it was manifest to each of them, and so they went on their travels to achieve it, as they so often did. To move was to live, and so they must go until their very last journey to their eternal destination. Just a year ago. It's been just about a year now since this journey seemed likely for him. His wife, my stepmother, Miss Ellie, slipped into the hereafter as easily as taking a breath. We were advised to expect the worst at any time. As for him, he looked like he was waiting for the grim reaper to open the door of the Black Maria and escort him to forever. He suddenly seemed ancient, frail, ready, resigned, even eager for what was coming. Waiting seemed pointless, aggravating, irritating, and a threat to the perfect tableau of death we were all constructing. More to show ourselves that we had given him a good send-off, the send-off he had waited a lifetime to give, and which must showcase him with all due respect, love, and the certainty that he had received his due, every jot and tittle. I'm ready for whenever the good Lord takes me. The vital concerns of daily life were no longer part of his reality. He had put his foot on the next road, the final road, but in the event he did not commence the journey. Everyone was ready for the new, sleek, easy snap, crackle and pop, three-step, howdy ma'am, quick speed, strip the corpse and burn it, American way of death. Prayers extra. We were awaiting this. We were prepared for this. We knew how to do this. But then the unexpected occurred, the thing that upset the apple cart. He lived. And this startled us, astounded us, and forced us to change the game plan just as he was having to do. I can still catch the 4:45 to Chicago if I run. What is it that causes a man whose deteriorating condition has prompted the urgent and adamant communications of a posse of medical personnel to stop the process of withdrawal and expiration and live again? The sapient physicians will cite a given tablet or therapy. Family members and friends will speak confidently of the infinite power of love, whilst the still living being at the center of the conundrum says God's will, which despite a legion of disbelieving scientists remains credible, vibrant, and reassuring. And so the first of many a new day dawned on an enigma, with awe, relief, joy, and a renewed commitment to life, the most important condition of our human reality, for without it nothing is possible. With it, everything is. O death, where is thy sting? Now what? The process of dying for the average Joe's only opportunity to enjoy the prerogatives and privileges of a prince. At the court of Louis XIV, for example, when the king was ill, and specifically when the king lay dying in 1715, the smell of his gangrene overpowered the combined perfumes of the gentlemen of France. Learned physicians from the Sorbonne in their long, sweeping silk gowns would troop ensemble to the Chambre de Roi to sniff his evacuations and render their opinion about his longevity, an opinion on which the future of many gentlemen rested. For to be too early in leaving the old regime, or too late in embracing the new, had the most serious consequences. Charlemagne was the highest rating for what they passed in chamber pot under their fastidious noses and minute review. Charlemagne meant life. In our death-averse civilization, where we hope that mentioning the matter as little as possible will forestall its certain existence and execution, each of us becomes as much the center of affairs as his son king himself. As death approaches, we are admitted, weighed, dieted, measured, wheelchair, analyzed, observed, discussed, considered, reconsidered, lamented, wept over, wept for, baby, prayed for, praised, kissed, including by total strangers, fluffed, boxed, organized, advised, critiqued, photographed, questioned, listened to, eulogized, spruced up, sent flowers, sent candy, sent cakes and cookies, and this is only part of our way of death. All this is done for you on the expectation that you will do your share, namely to be upbeat and cheerful as possible, that you will go through all the necessary and inevitable steps promptly, without inconveniencing anyone by failing to adhere to their always brisk schedule for your demise, and that at the end of the day you die, allowing the final obsequies to occur, and every cliche in the calendar thought, given, photographed, videotaped, and complimented by one and all how well it had gone. Next! But he did not die, despite the panoply of preparations, expectations, and the learned opinions of every professional engaged in the matter. The lead physician in the case called me one afternoon and told me with the polished certainties of the medical ilk that death was scheduled for T-minus 5 hours and counting, and that was that. Only it wasn't. To the surprise of all, including the principal actor himself, the consternation of many, and the downright irritation of some, those whose prayers and presentations had been the most ostentatious, the man known to history as Donald Marshall Lant lived, thereby being continued in the dicey, unpredictable, messy, and often baffling business of living, rather than the adamant certainties of death. For instance, when he returned alive to the dining room of the assisted living facility where he had last been discussed and hugged as a certain goner, there was a noticeable frisson as if he had farted in the elevator. It was, it seemed, mal vu to return alive after such a perfect farewell, forgotten but not gone, as one wag quipped. What a come-down for the man who expected to wake up to the bosom of the Lord amongst the saints who were marching in, most assuredly one of their high-stepping number, but instead he lived. And that was the greatest gift of all. The rest certain to occur in due course, but put aside for now, there could still be, would be, dreams, and these dreams could still come true in the many a new day that were now his. Thus he was informing me, not asking my permission or inviting my opinion, but acting like the patriarch he had been for so long. He was leaving the California where he had lived so long, and with such comfort and contentment, and moving to Oklahoma. He had a list of reasons at the ready. My brother and his simpatico wife of long standing were near at hand. The cost of living was dramatically lower. And perhaps, though unstated, the poignant memories of Miss Ellie were too potent and bittersweet in the suite where they had loved and lost each other. But there was, I think, one more reason. That to stay ensconced in the verdant grandeur of California was like waiting for the inevitability of death, a condition that sapped the joy from everything and left him dispirited and low. Motion meant life, and he still had life to spend and in abundance. Thus, while I advanced reasons for caution and deliberation, his mind and imagination raced ahead. Rogers and Hammerstein giving him in Oklahoma, 1943. Not just one of the most lyric of their incomparable repertoire, but the best reason of all. I sang off-key, "Many new face will please my eye," and he instantly responded, off-key, "Many new love will find me." Then I knew for a certainty many new day would dawn for him, and that these would be the best of all. Onboard. Go now to any search engine and play Many a New Day, and let this plucky song work its happy magic for you. Lance, your thoughts?
Yeah, the very touching article in there. I will say that some of the opportunities, never miss opportunity or things that occur within family members or loved ones all along the way. And yes, the people, you have to be, the will to survive is very strong in a lot of people. And with, as you mentioned there, where they thought but did not, and then to Oklahoma, because a movement meant life versus being in a place of where all that could be was being thought at the time of just going away and no longer to be there. And but I will tell you that it's again, it kind of goes back to purpose. For me, purpose, always having a purpose, something to fulfill, movement, which is movement, and then but always never miss the opportunity so that you have regrets. You can always look back and sharing in love and compassion and kindness for all your family members, loved ones, friends, and all the way up to the last point. And I will tell you that when I had to, I will use a little bit of an example. There was never, and even here, the Worldprofit family and everybody who's, whether I've had my own personal, everybody's been supportive and someone has provided something of encouragement, has given me strength. We strengthen each other as one family. And always remember that.
I'm going to bring up Judge Leo for a little razzmatazz. And hopefully we'll bring you back up before the end. We have 11 minutes here. Our time is waning. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that this is a privilege to be able to sit here, and it's just and I just thank Dr. Lant that I've been taught and trained on how to become a better individual, not just a better senior monitor, but a better individual and person from what I've been here. So you have all that opportunity to be able to do what we're doing here, what I've been doing. So thank you, sir.
And that's Lance Sumner. And here we have a fellow Oklahoma. I bet you never thought a few days ago that you'd be a part of Beloved, did you? You didn't know that we were having our own little yeah, so Beloved, why not? What's that name of that farm in New York when the Woodstock took place? That's what you're now about. So speak to us. Tell us about a little bit about you, why you chose us. I'm going to say a little bit about you. And members, I want to introduce you to the newest, he's conditional, and we're going to go into the conditions, but he's now a senior monitor with the rank of conditional, like a pro tem justice. You probably his line of work relate better to that term. We're going to explain what that means. Leo, we want to welcome you to the Worldprofit community as we have. People taking you like a duck to water. What do you want to say to them about your experience here? And where you were just days ago. People of our age get the feeling that we're being shunted aside. And it's a deeply bitter, resentful feeling that one has. Do you feel that way now? And you have no sound. Alright, tell me. Sorry, you do now have sound. You have a bit of a lag. Maybe it's the lag with Oklahoma, I don't know. Oh, you have sound now.
Experience I'm really enjoying. I'm enjoying the fellowship of the people that I've met here at Worldprofit. I joined in February. I've been doing net marketing on and off since the late 90s, primarily in the MLM area. 2009, my health deteriorated, that doing anything for about three and a half years. I began working again, and February I rediscovered Worldprofit, and Worldprofit has just about everything that you could possibly want or need to succeed in business, and this is what attracted me to it. There is so much that is available to make use of. Boot camp is so invaluable. I say that only 1% of the people who ever sign up ever open the first lesson, and if 99% of them would open it and listen to them, 99% would be successful instead of 1%.
Precisely. Let me start. Go ahead.
That pretty much summarizes my experience so far.
Let me amplify
looking at things.
If you wouldn't mind.
Excuse me?
I'm going to amplify what you just said.
Okay.
First of all, I want everyone in the community to understand that Leo's official name now is that's me, is Judge Leo. We will call him Judge Leo, just like Judge Judy. And by the way, Judge Judy, you know, those ladies make $5 or $10 million a year, so it's not a bad sinecure. So you now know we're very punctilious about titles. We call the Reverend Harris, the Reverend Buck, Dr. Lant, Captain Kosh, Judge Leo, and so on. It's an honor to have your expertise among us. We don't disdain it, we embrace it, we encourage you to apply it with a will when necessary, and to make the best use of it as you have. In other words, we don't believe in throwing away a lifetime of expertise, varied opinions, travels, courses, meetings with people, observations, insights. We don't believe in tossing them out. No babies will be tossed out with the bathwater under my regime, and that's a fact. Now, what that means is that you came to us as without technical expertise. Since I have the lowest technical expertise of any CEO in the world, my technical expertise is tested at the 5th percentile, which means newborn monkeys can accomplish more in rapid time than I can through long-term study. I respect people who do not have technical backgrounds, who come in here and confront this technical age. Not that we impose a lot of technical things, but it's just the sheer environment which is technical. This is a technical business. It grows by technology. It flourishes by technology. And also by having the technician par excellence, George Koch, do his magic for all of us. I do not impose on him. He does not impose on me. Sandy Hunter is the same way. The partners allow the other partners and all the miners to grow, breathe, and flourish. You want to speak to that for a minute?
Obviously a place where ideas are cherished. The lost grasp of in this country. Cardiologist once said the problem we have in this country is we've been taken left and the right and no one speaks for the people in the middle. And so grasp the opportunity to speak to reason, to speak in our conduct.
Now, I wanted to bring you up here today to introduce you to him and him to you. These are your colleagues. They will soon become your friends. Sometimes for the duration of their life, you will know a lot about them. They will know a lot about you. I will know a lot too. What I want to say is, after 21 years and being chief executive officer of this fine company, you might say, haven't you had enough? And I tell you this. I'll tell you the famous lines of John Paul Jones in the inauguration of the American Navy. I have not yet begun to fight. And that's exactly what it is. We're growing. Every day we feel more comfortable with each other. Every day I see camaraderie, comradeship, good fellowship, and may I say a spirit that doesn't exist elsewhere on the internet, where people are subjected to scams and brutalities, vulgarities, misrepresentations, and so on. It doesn't go along with what we do here. So Leo, without further ado, I'm going to ask you to step down as from the screen. We'll be seeing you at our program in just a few minutes, and I want to welcome you on behalf of all of us, not just to the community, but to the ranks of the Monitor program. And we will be talking about that in the next program, so get your paper and pencil out. Now, Patrice Porter, it's your time to come and take a bow. Oh, Lance wants to go. We get Patrice next. Patrice Porter, come and take a bow and take your place in the sunlight for a moment.
Good day, Dr. Lant, and all the members and looking in, and another wonderful program. I love that article about your dad, and it's very touching and moving, and talking about topics that we don't often talk about, dying and what it is to take a new lease on life, and that this whole program has been about taking a new lease on life, and as bringing out, empowering people to bring out their best abilities and to grow and support each other here. And I think it's just wonderful. And if anybody wants to check out my Home Business Central, you can check it out at www.20waystoprofit.com. And I also use my gardening expertise to help people to create abundance by gardening, and you can check that out at www.gardeningforfoodsecurity.com. And this program has been recorded, and it will be loaded up to YouTube at a later date, and I'll bring that forward to the members here. And I'm looking forward to our video marketing course right after this program. I'll see you there. Bye for now.
We will start the video marketing course within 5 minutes, so a little bit of a break. I want to conclude this program on an upbeat note. And I think for me, this article was stimulated by this little incident. One day, as it says in the article, I sang to him, and as you all know, my singing is nothing if not perfectly off-key at all times, accurate only by accident. I sang this line: "Many a new face will please my eye." And without missing a beat, the deacon said, my father, "Many new love will find me." And then the line that has the true bite of this article, that I knew for a certainty many a new day would dawn for him, and that these would be the best of all. And so I want to thank my colleagues, Lance, as always, Rock of Gibraltar. He loses so gracefully at Jeopardy, I can't but love him. And then I want to welcome Judge Leo. And remember, he is Judge Leo, and we're very punctilious about our ranks. For those that want to use them, we encourage them to do so. Those that don't want to use them, that's their individual decision. Of course, to Patrice, who gives so much, and I cannot. My meetings with Patrice are always just the two of us on the telephone or in the meeting room here. She lives in Saskatchewan, which is way up there, going up to the Northwest Territory, Sergeant Preston of the Yukon fame. Patrice is punctilious, always well organized. I wish I could lay claim to these virtues, but I can at least recognize them in others. always staying on me to give her the necessary information. And I can assure you, our project here is to record over 1,000 of these programs in the most magnificent archive imaginable, which was born of when I was a young boy actually, in Downers Grove, Illinois, hearing Robert Frost read his poems was the inspiration for this whole project. And I want to say thank you to Robert Frost, who after all was a graduate of Harvard and a denizen of Cambridge. So Lance, do you have a last thought before we go down?
Yeah, I just want to thank Patrice, and you, sir, definitely for everything, like I mentioned earlier, because it's years. I look back from the time I started in learning to do all the right things instead of doing all the wrong things I was doing before getting here. But I want to thank Patrice Porter. Thank you, Patrice. Man, you keep us right on task, right on target with Dr. Lant, and making sure that this program right here just is wonderful. And so also, yes, remember the names Judge Leo Watson. That is earned an honor and of honor. So yes, sir, Judge Leo Watson. We'll always remember that. So sir, thank you for the opportunity to spend up here with you during this program. I appreciate it.
Now for the world, what we do here on Saturday afternoons is twofold. First, we have the program Anything Goes, which you've seen, and our discussion today, as usual, is wide-ranging, erudite, timely, poignant, truthful, and honest. So for those of you that are out in the audience looking in, and that number has gone up steadily through the program, come in and ask the monitor on duty for their assistance in getting you in as a silver package owner. You need to do it. Bite this bullet. It will be the best thing you ever did in your life. And for all of you who are listening to us on the many networks that will receive this, you will, over the course of the next days, weeks, months, and years, and who knows, decades, given the way things are going, you will have access to these programs. You will want the current offer. Come into worldprofit.com, worldprofit.com, and ask the monitor on duty for Dr. Lant's extra super whiz bang best offer ever. You will be astonished at how much you get, the little pittance you must pay. Without further ado, we're going to take a brief break, 5 minutes, and then we will go into the video training course. And for those of you that are outside the wall, this is the cutting edge of the most important application for marketing on the internet that exists. And if you're not getting the information, you are permanently consigning yourself to the bottom of the barrel, and that makes no sense. And so on behalf of Cole Porter, in olden days, the glimpse of stocking was looked upon as something shocking, but now God knows anything goes. That's what makes World Profit such a vibrant and fast-moving and intelligent place to be. Thank you all.